Today we're going to focus on how to adapt to the pandemic.
To what extent do you feel like the pandemic has altered life to something you barely recognize?
How frequently do you question how this impacts you and your loved ones?
We have seen many changes at a personal and societal level, some temporary, others permanent.
In the following video, we discuss adapting to changes in the age of COVID. Life's changed for most of us as a result of the coronavirus outbreak. Even as some aspects of life seem to go back to normal, other things may remain permanent. Many of us have lost jobs and income. Some of our favorite shopping and eating establishments have gone out of business.
Beyond these changes, health and safety are factors which we can no longer take for granted. Many of the institutions which we assume would safeguard us have proved fallible. We've been made to face the realization that we're all, to some extent, vulnerable, at the same time as dealing with the concern of what may happen to those who we love and are closest to.
The pandemic, the lockdown, and its aftermath may put you through an entire emotional roller coaster. Stress, depression, loneliness, and frustration are some of the most common reactions in the age of social distancing. Those of us with pre-existing medical conditions may have felt especially anxious. Today we're going to focus on value shifts in the age of COVID.
To what extent do you feel as though the pandemic has altered what you view as important?
Have you derived any new meanings or realizations from this period?
This is an opportune time for our society to reassess and recalibrate certain core values.
In the following video, we discuss personal values in the age of COVID.
However, there are steps that you can take to manage your emotional well-being during these uncertain times. Doing so will help you maintain your composure through the turbulence and effectively be there for those who you are closest to. Let's take a look at some ways that you can take control of the situation.
Number 1. Connect which thoughts are causing negative emotions. Whether you're feeling anxious, stressed, depressed, or angry, take time to consider which thoughts are contributing toward these emotions. Contrary to popular belief, most events are neither positive nor negative. Human beings attach meaning and perception to them. For example, you may be concerned about catching COVID or that you may not be able to cope with another lockdown. If this is the case, it's likely to leave you feeling anxious. By becoming aware of these triggers, you will be prepared to avoid them.
Number 2. Avoid thinking in absolutes. So working in conjunction with controlling negative triggers, try to prevent yourself from thinking in all or nothing terms. Is the situation a catastrophe or is there a middle ground that you can identify? An example of this may be focusing more on the coping abilities you possess or that the situation is only temporary.
Number 3. Look at what you still control. Let's face it, COVID and the lockdown left many of us all feeling as if much was out of our control. Even our governing institutions weren't able to get a full handle on it. So what can we do as individuals? As someone with a pre-existing medical condition, you probably felt especially vulnerable. In saying that, ask yourself if everything is out of your hands or if there are some things you still have control over. This may mean occupying yourself with new activities.
Number 4, reach out to others. If you're feeling especially anxious or vulnerable, take the opportunity to reach out to family or friends who you've not caught up with in a while. Consider checking to see how your neighbours are doing. As much as we've been social distancing ourselves from others, this pandemic has provided us with the opportunity to band together with others in our community.
Number 5, derive meaning from this period. Think about if this pandemic has taught you anything about yourself. During the lockdown period, did you start to realize anything or see life through an alternative lens at all? Did you miss the way that you were going about life before, or were you secretly relieved? Consider if there are any lessons you could take away from the experience.
Number 6, boost your physical resiliency. Even though you're not guaranteed to avoid catching COVID in the future, there are steps you can take to make you more resilient if you do catch it. Consider adopting some healthier eating patterns or following an exercise plan. Both options can help you improve your cardiorespiratory function, boost your immune system, build strength, control blood pressure, and reduce body fat. Consequently, you're more likely to become physically resilient to COVID. It may not guarantee you becoming completely invulnerable, but at the very least, it can't hurt you.
And number 7, boost your emotional resiliency. There are a variety of simple activities which can help you alleviate feelings of anxiety, stress, or depression. These include formulating a simple daily routine, going for a nature walk, writing a gratitude journal, or practicing mindful meditation. Each of these can help to relax you and refocus your mind away from destructive thinking. This in turn can have a positive impact on your immune system, blood pressure, and cardiorespiratory function. Today we're going to focus on how to adapt to the pandemic.
To what extent do you feel like the pandemic has altered life to something you barely recognize?
How frequently do you question how this impacts you and your loved ones?
We have seen many changes at a personal and societal level, some temporary, others permanent.
In the following video, we discuss adapting to changes in the age of COVID.
It could be argued that when COVID-19 forced us to put our lives on pause, it also provided us with an opportunity to face our vulnerabilities, identify our character strengths, and realign our core values, which could become the bedrock for the way we live moving forward. As much as the pandemic has altered your perspective on a personal level, the same can also be said about many of us at a societal level. Here is a list of 12 core values our society may be shifting towards in the post-pandemic era.
Number 1. Slowing down. Prior to COVID, the dominant narrative in our Western society centered around the need to achieve and stay busy. However, lockdown forced many of us to slow down and pause. This in turn gave many of us time to recharge our batteries.
Number 2. New pastimes. The months spent remaining indoors provided many of us with the opportunity to abandon our previous schedules and try things we spent a long time wanting to do. Online courses and videos became very popular in introducing new activities such as learning a language, coding, or playing music.
Number 3. Connection with others. Lockdown also forced us to spend time away from most other people. It was during this period where we suddenly realized how interdependent we all are. The extent to which we rely on others became apparent, especially regarding essential workers such as medical staff and supermarket employees. Without their efforts, we would cease to function.
Number 4. Connection to ourselves. Slowing down and time spent in isolation provided many of us with the opportunity to reflect upon ourselves, formulate new routines, as well as become familiar with our authentic side. This was a rare opportunity which the rat race rarely enabled us to take advantage of.
Number 5. Minimalism. Let's face it, how many of us were unable to purchase the things we might normally spend money on if there was not a lockdown? Certain things can obviously be purchased online still, but with most stores and restaurants remaining shut, we became used to being inside and not opening our wallet so much. It is possible that this time period may have shown us how many things we were able to live without.
Number 6. Equality. The very poorest, including those categorized as essential workers, were among the most vulnerable to contract COVID-19. The pandemic has brought it home to many just how vulnerable those without real wealth are. Moving forward, we may see more demand from the more vulnerable members of our society to feel respected and protected.
Number 7. Working from home. Prior to the pandemic, most people were required to commute into work, with many employers skeptical about letting their staff work from home. However, lockdown has changed much of that. Office workers were granted the freedom to work virtually, maintaining communication with bosses and co-workers via video conference. Since then, many companies have come to realize the cost benefits of not working out of an office at the same time as seeing that their staff can still be productive. Moving forward, working from home may become standard practice instead of being reserved for as a rare privilege.
How to adapt to change in the post-COVID age. Even as things seemingly transition back to normal in the post-lockdown world, there are some changes which may remain permanent. This could include more people working from home and socializing less. Homeschooling and online learning may also become more popular.
As a result, various industries may be adversely affected. We've already seen certain retail stores, restaurants, and entertainment venues close permanently. Consequently, we may witness a cultural shift, which may sound exciting but can also feel alienating to many individuals.
Although change is constant, not everyone is prepared. Learning how to adapt is a vital component in maintaining one's own emotional well-being through turbulent periods. We recommend considering the following 7 steps in order to adapt to whatever changes are ahead of us.
Number 1. Prepare for the future. The future is obviously difficult to predict as there are few certainties. However, paying some attention to the news and seeing what's happening within your local community will help you to anticipate what changes may be coming. Think about contingency strategies in the event of those changes taking place. This may involve financial planning, lifestyle alterations, or alternative habits you could adopt. Even then, change is unlikely to happen exactly the way you anticipated, but it will at least mean that you're less likely to be caught off guard.
Number 2, embrace instability. Now this is easier said than done, but you will be in a stronger position if you're able to let go of nostalgia and embrace adventure. Familiarity and routine may feel comfortable, but it often leads to staleness. Instability can take you out of your comfort zone and be a catalyst for personal growth.
Number 3, think proactively as opposed to reactively. So when you're reactive, you think in terms of life happening to you. You relinquish control, and this can be very disempowering. Thinking proactively involves focusing upon what you can make happen. Adopting a mindset of taking charge bolsters confidence and reduces anxiety. Even though it takes time to cultivate, adopting an active mentality as opposed to a passive one will help you adapt in the long run.
Number 4, set goals. Now this will help your mind look forward and avoid holding on to the past. Your goals don't have to be enormous. A succession of small wins will increase your levels of optimism.
Number 5, keep growing as a person. Maybe this includes getting into better physical shape, educating yourself, acquiring a new skill, or meeting new people. As you evolve as a person, then you're likely to outgrow your old attachments. This will enable you to live without them when they're no longer available.
Number 6, keep your sense of humor. Do your best to see the funny side of everything. Again, there will be some times when that is easier than others. However, if you can appreciate life's absurdities and ironies, it can go a long way in alleviating stress and tension.
Number 7, maintain your core values. As much as the world may be changing on the outside, your core values may remain consistent within. Whether it's your sense of integrity, authenticity, or compassion, knowing that these principles remain unshakable will provide you with a foundation of support even in most uncertain times.
We hope that you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Did you like the ideas? Do you have any ideas of your own? Is there anything different which you would like to see us cover?
If you like what you've heard, we ask you to support this channel by clicking the thumbs up on this video and hitting the subscribe button. Please also use the share button to pass this information around to anyone who may benefit from it.
Check out the written blog version of this video by clicking the link below and visiting our website. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter under Empower Illness Coaching. To find out more about who we are, feel free to visit the video about our illness journey.